Tonight's lesson is called Stop Leaving Money on the Table. Family, one of the fastest ways to lose money in the short-term rental business is to charge the same price every night. A Tuesday in February should not necessarily cost the same amount as a Saturday during a major concert weekend. A night with very little demand should not necessarily cost the same amount as a New Year's Eve. A normal weekend should not necessarily cost the same amount of the weekend of the Super Bowl, or even a major convention in the area, or a graduation, or even a citywide festival. See, new hosts, they create their listings, and then they set their nightly rate, and then they walk away. They may say, my price is $150 a night. There it is. But my question is, why? Why is it $150 a night? Why is it 6 months from now, $150 a night? Why is it $150 on Tuesday and Saturday? Well, you get my point, right? You know, what about when the city is empty? Why is it $150? But what about when there's 70,000 people in town? Why is it $150? You see, your answer is that sounded like a good price. Then you do not have a pricing strategy. You have a guess. And guessing is very expensive. You can lose money in two different directions. The first way is by pricing too high during low demand periods. The property sits vacant, you earn nothing. And the second way is pricing is too low during high demand periods. The property gets booked, but you leave hundreds of dollars or sometimes even thousands of dollars on the table. Now, get your pen and pad, write this down. An empty night cannot be sold tomorrow, and an underpriced night cannot be sold twice. Once the date has passed, the opportunity is gone. If tonight goes vacant, you can't place it back on the market next week. If you sell a major holiday for $150, the market would have paid you $400. You can't call the guest later and be like, hey, I need the difference. I've done that before. It don't work too well. Now, the revenue is already gone. And Dice, we call that point seen, money gone. And this is why professional hosts do not simply manage properties. They manage inventory. Every available night is a piece of inventory. Your job is to sell that night at the best possible price while there is still time left to sell it. Make sense? This is where dynamic pricing enters the business model. Static pricing versus dynamic pricing. Let us begin with two important definitions. What is static pricing? Static pricing means charging one rate or nearly the same rate regardless of what it is or what's happening in the market. For example, remember that $150 example I gave you, which is every Monday through Friday, even on New Year's or Super Bowl or concert weekends, right? That is called static pricing. Even when it's the summer and everybody's traveling in this peak season, you still set at $150. So static pricing is simple. You're just setting the price and you're walking away. It's usually disconnected from demand. The host is trending every night as though every night has equal value, but every night does not have equal value. Think about airline tickets. Many of y'all fly, right? The seats on an airplane is the same seat unless you're in first class, but the price changes based on travel dates. It changes based on demand. It changes if it's a holiday weekend or not. Have you ever flown on Labor Day? They jack the prices up. And how early the customer books. Did you book within that 2-week window? It's more expensive. How many seats remain on that plane dictate the price. The popularity of the destination. Hotels operate very similarly. A hotel room can cost from $129 a night or $429 on another night for the same exact room. The bed did not change. The demand changed. So what is dynamic pricing? Dynamic pricing means you adjusted the nightly rate as market conditions change. Those conditions may include seasonality, day of the week, current demand, local events, a booking pace, how many bookings that you're getting, how far away the arrival date is, even your competitor rates. Your current occupancy will demand how much you charge a night. Your remaining availability, historical performance, even gaps in your calendar. So pricelabs.com, always use them, describes dynamic pricing as providing automated daily rate and minimum stay updates using market data and listing performance. Its system considers factors such as seasonality, local events, lead time, booking pace, and historical performance. Here's a simple philosophy. When demand rises, your rates should have the ability to rise. When the demand falls, your strategy should adjust as the night goes vacant. Dynamic pricing does not mean that you're constantly discounting. It does mean that the price responds to the market. Sometimes the correct adjustment is down, and sometimes the correct adjustment is up. Sometimes the correct decision is to hold the price. The goal is not maximum occupancy at any cost. And the goal is not the highest nightly rate, which can empty the calendar. The goal is to balance the rate and occupancy so that the property produces the strongest possible total revenue. Now, there are 3 numbers that every host must understand. Before discussing the tools, you need to understand 3 basic numbers. Number 1, average daily rate. So the average daily rate, commonly known as the ADR, is the average revenue generated for each booked night. A simple calculation is booked nights revenue divided by booked nights equal your ADR. If you agree, or if you generate $3,000 from a 15-night booking, $3,000 divided by 15 equals $200 average daily rate. Number 2 is the occupancy rate. So occupancy is the percentage of available nights that were booked. If your property is available for 30 nights and 21 nights were booked, 21 divided by 30 equals a 70% occupancy. Number 3, revenue per average night. Revenue per available night measures how much revenue the property generated across all available nights, including the nights that went vacant. So a simple calculation is this: total room revenue divided by total nights available. So if you generated $3,000 and had 30 available nights, $3,000 divided by 30 equals $100 per night. This matters because ADR by itself can be misleading. A host may brag, hey, my average rate is $400 per night. But if host A receives only 3 reservations, and host B on the average is $250 a night, but maintains a strong profitable occupancy rate, host B could produce more total revenue with a lesser amount. So the object is not to win a competition over who has the highest average price or advertised price. The objective is to operate a profitable property. The dynamic pricing and research tools. Let us look at 3 of the most important tools in the short-term rental pricing conversation: PriceLabs, Beyond, and AirDNA. These websites and these tools are a must use. So these tools have overlapping capabilities because they do not serve the exact same purpose. Tool 1, PriceLabs. PriceLabs is my top recommendation for many beginners who are ready to move beyond guessing. It can help hosts automate daily rates and minimum stay requirements. PriceLabs analyze factors such as seasonability, day of the week, local demand, local events, booking lead time, booking pace, historical performance, market conditions, your property's performance. It also looks at gaps in the calendar. Its pricing calendar produces recommended rates for future nights. with prices moving around a base rate according to the market and property factors. So here's why I like Price Labs for beginners. Price Labs can give a new host structure. Instead of waking up every morning asking yourself, what should I charge for tonight? What's going on in the city? Is it high demand? Is it low demand? Right? And so you figuring it out, you can establish rules and allow the system to produce daily recommendations. But the tool still allows you to control important boundaries. You can establish a base price, a minimum price, and also a maximum price. And those are your boundaries. You can even set weekend adjustments, seasonal adjustments, and last minute discounts. So you don't want to charge as much in the winter as you do in the summer, right? You want to have it adjusted for the summer because more people are traveling. And you can also say like, hey, I don't want this property to be sold under $100 a night. So you can set your minimums. So that balance is very important. The algorithm provides information and automation. You provide the business strategy. So what Price Labs does not know automatically is Price Labs can analyze data, but you still know things about your property that the software may not fully understand. Now, let me give you an example of that. You just completed a major renovation. Your property has a private theater. Your view is better than the nearby properties. Your building's pool is temporarily closed. Construction has started next door, and it's going to be a little noise. Your reviews have recently improved. Your listing photographers are outdated. Your property has a parking limitation. These are just a few things that the system may not know, right? So you need to be very specific, a minimum amount to remain profitable. The system is an assistant. You are still the owner. So do not surrender your judgment. Tool number 2, Beyond, is another major revenue management and dynamic pricing platform. Beyond states that its pricing system adjusts rates using demand signals such as seasonality, search demands, regional events, day of the week, availability, booking patterns, market conditions. Beyond states its objectives are to help balance the average daily rate and occupancy to optimize total revenue. When Beyond may become attractive and appeal to hosts and property managers who want automated daily pricing, market-driven recommendations, event detection, revenue management reporting, pricing explanations, a system that can grow with a larger portfolio. Price Labs and Beyond are competitors. You do not normally need to use both dynamic pricing engines on the same listing. Research both, test the interface, compare the cost, compare the integrations, decide which system you understand well enough to manage properly. The best tool is not automatically the one with the longest feature list. The best tool is the one that connects you to your platforms and also fits your budget. It also wants to give you the appropriate control, something that you feel comfortable using. And also it produces understandable recommendations, not something that just has you scratching your head. It also supports your market. It should help to make you better decisions. Tool 3, AirDNA, is widely used for short-term rental market research and competitive analysts. It provides information involving occupancy, average daily rates, revenue estimates, market seasonality, comparable properties, future demand, competitor performance. So that's when you put in your address and everybody in your neighborhood who's doing Airbnb pops up in their prices and you get to look at what they're doing price wise. That's why I really like AirDNA. It'll also help you with your property revenue potential as well. So AirDNA current tools allow hosts to review comparable listings, historical performances, future demand, competitor rates, and data-driven rate recommendations. AirDNA is especially valuable before you launch your property. You can use it to ask, What do similar properties earn? What is the average occupancy rate in the market? Which months are the strongest? Which months are the weakest? What rates are comparable properties charging? How much does demand change by season? Are larger properties outperforming smaller ones? Which amenities appear high performing properties? How far in advance do guests normally book? So AirDNA also provides suggested nightly rates based on the listing, selected comparable properties, day of the week, seasonality, demand, and booking lead time. How I would position the three tools, think about them this way. Tool primarily strength. Price Labs, customizable daily pricing and revenue management automation. Beyond, automated dynamic pricing driven by market demand signals. AirDNA, market research, competitive analysis, forecasting, and rate insights. The features continue to evolve, so always review the current version before purchasing a subscription. The important lesson is not to become emotionally attached to one software company. The lesson is to stop pricing decisions without data. The revenue impact. Let us look at how static pricing can hurt the same property in two opposite ways. Your static rate is $150. Demand is low. Comparable properties are booking between $90 and $110. Your property remains at $150. Nobody books. Your revenue is low. A dynamic pricing strategy might recommend $95. The property gets booked. You might say, but I normally charge $150. How can I afford to pay my house cleaner? The question is not what you normally charge. The question is, was a qualified customer willing to pay $150 a night for a particular night? Now, if the answer is no, the $150 price was theoretical. The $95 reservation created a real revenue. However, $95 must still be beyond your acceptable minimum and must make sense after. So you got to look at the platform fees as well, and the cleaning and your supplies and your utility and your labor. And you got to add all this in with taxes just to see if your minimum of $95 will make sense or not. So make it make sense, but don't leave money on the table. $95 in your pocket is better than not getting $150 and getting zero money that day, right? So do not chase occupancy without unprofitable rates. So let's look at this second scenario. A major concert weekend, and your static rate is still $150. A major artist is performing nearby. It happens all the time, especially here in Atlanta. Hotels are selling out. Search demand increases. Travelers are booking further from the venue. So your property gets reserved immediately for $150. You celebrating because you received a booking. You received it for the whole weekend. But the market would have supported $275 a night. You filled the night, but you may have left $125 on the table. So for a 2-night reservation, that could have been $250 in lost potential revenue. Let's look at scenario 3. It's a holiday weekend. Maybe it's Christmas or something. Your normal rate still remains at $150 a night. Families are traveling. Hotels are filling. The booking window is longer. Demand is significantly higher. Your property could potentially command $300 or $400 that night, depending on the market and property. But your calendar was never updated. Someone booked it months earlier before you even thought about changing your rates. So that's the problem. And the property is occupied, but the pricing strategy failed. Can dynamic pricing increase revenue by 20 or 40%? It can happen, but you do not present that range as a guarantee. Vendor published case studies show a wide range of individual outcomes. Examples include reported revenue improvements around 15 to 20%, even 25 to 28 to 37%. Now, in some case studies report even larger changes. Those results came from a particular business and market and portfolios and operating conditions. So the responsible way to teach this claim is dynamic pricing may create significant revenue improvement by reducing underpricing during peak periods and overpricing during weak periods, but no tool can guarantee 20 or 40% increase. Your outcome will depend on your previous pricing strategy, your listing quality, the market demand, even your reviews, property condition, amenities that you offer, the competition in your area, and the calendar availability, along with minimum nightly stays. Also, you got to look at booking restrictions and operating performances. So how well the system is configured is definitely a factor as well. So if your previous strategy was poor, the improvement could be sustainable. If you were already managing pricing professionally, the percentage improvement may be smaller. It just depends on your work ethic and how you were managing it. Dynamic pricing does not repair a bad property. It does not create a demand where none exists. It does not overcome terrible reviews. It does not clean the property. It does not improve your photographs. That would be cool if it did. It does not respond to guests. Pricing is one of the part of the revenue streams, and it is a very important part, but it is not the entire business. Next, let's look at 4 essential pricing strategies. Now let us discuss 4 strategies every host should understand. Strategy number 1, weekend premium. In many markets, Friday and Saturday nights have a greater leisure demand than Sunday through Thursday. A beginning strategy may be to start the weekend premium approximately off at 20 to 30% more. So for example, weekday base rate, you at that $150, right? Now 20% weekly premium would make it $180. 30% would make it $195. But do not automatically increase every weekend by 30%. Your market may be different. That's where research comes in, and data is important. A research market may have a strong weekend demand. A business district may perform better during the week. A hospital market may have consistent demand throughout the week. Now, a property near a Sunday sporting event may perform strongly on Sunday nights. The rule should follow the data. Airbnb allows hosts to create weekend pricing for Friday and Saturday nights, while dynamic pricing tools can make a more detailed day of the week adjustments. Weekend pricing exercise. Write down your current weekday rate. For this example, let us use $200. A 20% increase is $200 multiplied by 20% equals $40. Add $40 to the base rate. Your weekend rate now becomes $240. A 30% increase is a $200 multiplied by 30% equals $60 more. Add $60 to your base rate. Your weekend rate becomes $260. Now ask, do comparable properties support that rate? Are weekend bookings faster than weekdays? How far in advance are weekend bookings? Are you reaching high occupancy too early? Are you still vacant at the last minute? Is your calendar still open that day? Are your weekends attracting the right guest? And I understand that's why you don't want to lower your price too low, right? And if every Saturday is booked 6 months in advance, you may be underpriced. If every Saturday remains vacant until the final day, you may be overpriced, or your listing may have another problem. The booking pace provides information. Now let's go into strategy number 2. Last minute discounts. A last minute discount reduces the rate as the arrival date approaches. The purpose is to convert nights that are at risk of going vacant. For example, 7 days before arrival, regular dynamic rate. 3 days before arrival, 5% reduction. 1 day before arrival, a 10% reduction. Same day, 15% reduction. Those are examples, but not universal rules. Airbnb supports last-minute discounts, and its rule-set tools allow hosts to reduce nightly pricing as check-in approaches. Why last-minute discounts work? A customer booking tonight may be comparing your rental to a hotel or to another host's property. He could be looking at a lower quality property, or even could be making the decision not to travel at all because of these prices. So a reasonable reduction can make your property more competitive, but you need to maintain a minimum price. Without a minimum price, the algorithm might recommend a rate that does not support your expense or your brand position. Set a pricing floor. Your minimum rate should account for platform fees, cleaning expenses not covered elsewhere, right? So utilities, guest supplies, the labor cost, maintenance reserve, wear and tear on your property, the taxes, desired contribution towards fixed costs. Do not lower the price simply to say that you are booked, because it has to make sense. A $70 reservation that costs you $95 to fulfill is not a victory. It is paid work that loses money. Do not train customers to wait. If you apply extreme last minute discounts every week, customers may learn to wait. You can also damage your positioning. Use targeted discounts and be cool. Don't panic. Just watch the market. Watch competitor availability. Watch how quickly your dates are booking. Price Labs, Beyond, and similar tools can apply last minute adjustments automatically while respecting a minimum price established by you, the host. Strategy number 3, event-based pricing. Events can create some of the greatest pricing opportunities. Examples include concerts, sports, especially professional sports, college football, graduations, conferences, festivals, political conventions, award shows, marathons, trade shows. You see, I can go on and on with so much stuff that's happening in a major city that you always have to be prepared to take advantage. So you want to be connected to City Hall or websites that's like Access Now or what's going on in the city so that you will know. A normal rate may be completely inappropriate for a high demand event. Build an event calendar. Research at least 12 months ahead. Identify the event name, the venue, event dates, expected attendance, and distance from your property. Like we just had the World Cup here. So this was highly important. Imagine not knowing it's coming until they got here and people already booked up everything at a cheap rate when prices were going for 4 times the amount every single night. So you want to check your minimum stay opportunities to make sure that you are in position for these opportunities. Do not wait until the concert or the World Cup to change your prices the weekend before it arrives. Do it early so people will book at the right price, so that by the time your property may already be booked, it could be booked at the wrong rate. So do not rely entirely on event detection. Dynamic pricing tools may detect many local events, but no tool knows every event that matters to your exact property. So a large family reunion may not appear in the software. A nearby university ceremony may affect the neighborhood more than the city as a whole. A television production may create temporary housing demand that you you or the system may be unaware of. A convention may bring thousands of attendees, but the event name may not be recognized correctly. Review your local calendar manually. Let the technology help you, but do not let it make you lazy. Event pricing example. Your normal weekend rate is $225 and a major concert is announced. Comparable hotels begin charging $400 to $600. Similar rentals begin disappearing from the market. Your dynamic recommendation increased to $375. You might also establish a 2-night minimum, a higher minimum price. And at that point, that's when you do no last minute discount because the demand is so high and people are going to be looking and they're going to book because there's nowhere else to stay. So stricter cancellation strategy where appropriate. Put it on firm during that weekend. Premium for remaining available, but remain realistic. A concert does not automatically make every property worth $1,000 per night. That makes sense? Because you also got to look at the distance your property is from the concert. And some people like to be close so that they can walk or get easy transportation, such as Lyft and Uber, and be dropped off. You have to look at parking. So the reviews are going to say a lot about certain events and venues in your property and its proximity. And they're also going to tell you about the amenities and guest capacity. So the goal is to respond to demand and not become irrational. Strategy 4, length of stay discounts. Length of stay discounts encourage guests to reserve more nights. A simple strategy might be 7 nights or more, 10% discount. 28 or 30 nights or more, 25% discount. Airbnb currently permits weekly discounts for stays that are at least 7 nights and monthly discounts for 28 nights. Again, these percentages are starting examples, but not automatic recommendations. But you need to do them because you're basing your calendar on a short-term rental, which the nights are high. You want somebody to book 3 months at a time. So if they get a larger discount for it, they can afford to do so, and the rate they pay is reasonable. So you got to set your monthly discounts. This way you'll have higher occupancy, you'll have fewer turnovers, you'll have fewer cleaning appointments, lower restocking frequency, less communication, lower vacancy risk, more predictable revenue. So imagine 2 options. Option 1, 7 separate one-night reservations. That could require 7 cleanings, 7 check-ins, 7 check-out communications, 7 opportunities to access problems, 7 sets of guest supplies. It could also mean 7 reservation management cycles. Y'all see how that works? But 7 is way less than a full calendar of guests that we normally manage. So you want these long-term stays. So put in weekly discounts and monthly discounts. It will help you. Option 2, 1 7-night reservation that may require a 1 check-in, a check-out, a standard turnover, less administration work. A 10% weekly discount may still produce a stronger operational result. So calculate the effective night rate. Suppose your nightly rate is $200. 7 nights at full price. We take 7 multiplied by 200. That equals $1,400. A 10% discount to that $1,400 equals $140. The discount total is $1,400 minus the $140, which equals $1,260. The effective nightly rate is $1,260 divided by 7. That equals $180 per night. Now ask yourself, is $180 still profitable? Yes, for my $150 guy, yeah, it is. So how much cleaning did you do and save on labor? You only had to clean 1 time. So the demand is strong enough to sell those nights separately. Does the longer reservation block a valuable weekend or an event? You got to ask yourself that question. Are utilities likely to increase? Is the property appropriate for longer occupancy? Monthly discount example. 30 nights at $200 equals $6,000. A 25% discount equals $1,500. The discounted monthly total becomes $4,500. The effective nightly rate is $150. Now, before accepting that strategy, compare $4,500 with your rent and your mortgage and your HOA and your utilities. And you also got to compare, like, let's say if you had 6 to 10 bookings that month, that's 6 to 10 cleanings that you have to pay your cleaner, right? Instead of that 1 month booking, you're paying your cleaner once. So a lot of times monthly bookings can be great because then you get your money up front and you know how much you're earning, and then you're on to the next thing. And it's less work required for everybody. And you understand what your desired profit is, it could work for you. Also research all local laws, these lease terms and platform rules, and potential occupancy or tenancy implications before accepting extended reservations. A monthly booking that creates legal or financial problems is not a successful pricing strategy. Do not discount high demand dates unnecessarily. Suppose a 7-night stay includes a major concert weekend, a holiday, 3 peak nights, 4 regular nights. A large weekly discount might erase the premium you should have earned. Your dynamic pricing system is a rule that is set to account for this. Longer stays is not automatically better because the correct reservation is one that creates an attractive combination of revenue, profit, occupancy, operational effectiveness, and applicable risk.